Hey everybody, Kevin from the Awareness.website and another video of Classroom Classics 3. You don't know how hard that is to say sometimes. Classroom Classics. So we got a couple moves to work on. Step back to ward off monkey and also flying at a slant. So we'll get into the details on that here shortly. So hang in there and we'll be right back. Alright, we're up to step back to ward off monkey. So in the set there's 3 of them. So step back to ward off monkey right, step back to ward off left, and then another right, and then it goes into flying at a slant. So ward off monkey is very similar to flying at a slant, except flying at a slant you do a long step back. So in the Facebook, we're talking about when you step back, you want to step back in line with your front arm. And to give you the idea, from fist under elbow, your front arm is lined up with your left leg. So your left arm and left leg are lined up, and the right fist is under the elbow. You're sitting on the back leg. When you go into step back to ward off monkey right, you're going to open up the arms and see the left arm stays forward, and then I step back in line with that left arm and plant the foot at 45 degrees. But I don't want this arm to migrate, and I want to step back straight in line from that arm. And then you bring the right arm to the front, the left arm underneath it, straighten out the front foot, and then sit down, and that's repulse monkey or step back to ward off monkey right. We sometimes call them repulse monkeys, sometimes repulsive monkeys, depending on how bad they're going. But now when you go into the next one, the same thing. You open up the arms, but see the right arm stays forward. When you step back, again stepping back in line with that right arm, and that right arm stays out expressing forward. Then you straighten out the front foot, the left arm comes through, and then sit down. The common thing that happens for people is when they open up here, there's a tendency to let that front arm go and step around behind. And then you're ending up with your really badly instepped. You want the foot at this kind of a spacing, but if you step behind the other foot, you end up, and it's really hard to sit down. You get kind of stuck there. The key thing is to pay attention to that front arm. Keep that front arm expressing forward and step back in line with that arm, so that when you straighten out the front foot, you've got your toe-u spacing. So one foot on either side of that line. So you've got a center line there. As soon as you start getting around behind, the body starts getting twisted up, and then it gets really complicated and you get really unbalanced. All 3 of the step back to ward off monkeys are the same. When you go into flying at a slant, and it's the same thing, and on the Facebook we talk about getting the step before you start to turn. And repulse monkeys are the same. When you go into the last ward off monkey, you go into flying at a slant, it's the same thing. Make sure your back hand is palm up. Keep that front hand expressing. You're going to relax the weight down as you step back, and it's a longer step. But plant the foot. So notice I haven't started to turn. I planted the foot, and then you turn, pivot on the heel, relax into the back leg, and then stand up and hold the ball. And then you're going into the second part of flying at a slant, where you open up and push the arm out. I ran out of studio space here, so I'll move over and show that again. So, repulse monkey right, stand up, keep that arm expressing forward, step back, plant the foot first, then turn, pivot on the heel, up and hold the ball, and then flying at a slant. So this part of it we usually refer to as tee over a fence. So you're handing a cup of tea over your backyard fence to your neighbor. And of course I'm shortening it up so I don't go off the screen here, but you can stretch it out further when you do it. Repulse monkeys, flying at a slant, they're all the same. Make sure you get the foot step, the foot planted before you start to turn and go into the next part. And that'll help a whole lot with your balance. A lot of people have problems with their balance when they're going through this. So if you can keep that idea in mind of not turning too soon, it'll help a lot. If you got any more questions about this kind of stuff or any of the moves or whatever, or this particular move, don't hesitate to ask. Just make a comment, lay down your question, and I'll get back to you and answer it as best I can. Wanted to talk a little bit about the contest coming up because we've had lots of entries coming in, and the time's running out to get your entry in. So the contest ends on Tuesday, October 31st. So it's Halloween night, and I know you'll probably be really geared up to go out for candy and trick-and-treating and all that kind of stuff. So get your entry in before Halloween, and then we make the draw on November 1st. Skype session with me for an hour, and maybe a little bit more, depends on what we get talking about. But if you don't know anything about Skype, do some research. We'll see if we can find some stuff to help you out with setting that up. But don't be scared of it. It's actually really easy. And looking forward to meeting some of you on Skype and online. We've been meeting lots of people, lots of our viewers here and there and in different places. So it's really exciting, lots of fun. So get your entry in. And in the meantime, like us on Facebook, check out the website, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Take care. We'll see you again. Bye.